Hello, everyone. It's Harrison Allen here, and a few hours ago, I just got back from what it's to be so far my biggest highlight of 2025 to date. Now, also during when I was in Melbourne on my Melbourne trip, I did have my birthday celebration. So I'm officially 23 years old. However, I was actually on the train crossing the border when I first hit that new milestone, and unfortunately, I wasn't here to show you any of birthday presents because one, two of the presents for my parents was the train tickets from Sydney and back, and the other one was some other bits and pieces. But yeah, now some presents I also got two. I'm not with me in this little lineup. Some of them are in the wash because I did get a couple of clothing. One was a new Spider Man water bottle, which is also getting washed and cleaned as well as we speak. And I've also got myself some other items I got from eBay too, which shouldn't be too far before they arrive. And one of them I'll post on was the community tabs to see which one it is, because I think you guys will be a bit surprised to see what I got as well, my special mystery pickup. So without further ado, guys, here are my 2025 birthday presents slash pickup. So let's get started. Now, the first, going off of my presents, other presents from my parents. This is the Hornby Edward model from 2006, so the original version. Now, Edward is a really good model. His face is pretty accurate. His color details, pretty spot on. Um, and this is before the Hornby models, when they rebooted the range in 2015. They all the locomotives became driven, loco driven rather than being tender driven, which is the models, which is the main power supply of the original models like this one. Now, I've been collecting the Hornby Thomas models for many years now, primarily when I was in primary school, going up to high school. Now, according to some fans, Edward and Toby was supposed to be released. Well, Toby was supposed to be released back in 1989 and Edward in 1990, but were later cancelled. So it's, unless an actual prototype exists or what the original late 80s, early 90s models were supposed to be like, it's not entirely believe confirmed if it was going to be this tooling they later ended up going for Edward's case. But unless someone posts a prototype image on say Twitter or something like that, we may never truly know until that point comes. But other than Edward now, the only engine I need to complete Wilbur Audrey's 8 famous engines in a Hornby form is Henry, which I could likely get him for Christmas later on this year too. So yeah, very nice to have him. The other birthday present I got from my parents is a special edition release of the original Thomas the Tank Engine booklet from the Railway series. Now, this is actually the 2015 70th anniversary edition of the book. Now, I do have the entirety of Wilbur Audrey's Railway series volumes in one big collection. However, this one, yes, it's basically the exact same Thomas book, but it does feature little biography and backstory of Wilbur Audrey, his love for trains, and how he first came up with the idea of bringing these little stories to life, from the pages from telling Christopher when he was ill with the measles. So yeah, basically it goes on telling the Thomas story trope as well. So it's pretty good. So yeah, it's a bit of a collector's item on my behalf too. So yeah, this will be just with the Edward model, it will be worth pretty much a fortune in the future. And speaking of Thomas's the 8th anniversary, I should say, back in 2015, comparing to where the show is now, the whole franchise as a whole was being treated very differently comparing to where Mattel's handling like the current state of like the show, not necessarily the franchise, because they are slowly starting like learn their lessons from like the fan mail and such, and what made Thomas truly magical with like new items getting like announced, revealed for later on during the 80th anniversary, which is very promising to us fans, me in particular too. But they're more than likely towards like re-release the entire Railway series like collection again at some stage. If not just Wilbert's books, but also a mixture of like his and Christopher's books. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, we're going on to like one of the pickups I got from Melbourne. Now, this is a book I actually got from a hobby shop in the Flinders Street area, well, the same building, I should say. Now, this is a book about the VR E-Class electrics, so which are like one of these like little electric diesel shunters that work on the Victorian railways. So basically, it goes to like all of their working life from like the 70s, 60s, 80s up until like now. Some of these I've actually seen, like this diesel in particular, I have seen on the siding when I was coming out of Southern Cross Station. Some of the electrics I haven't seen a great deal of too, and that class of engine I'm yet to see at some stage. But I have seen it up close in person somewhere. Won't say exactly though. Like the same class of engine, not the actual locomotive number or anything like that. But yeah, after being like riding a bunch of Victorian like trams and such, I thought it'd be like only be appropriate for me to get like a book all about like one of like the engines that work on the Victorian Railway. So that's that one. Next one I got is a bit of an unusual item. So it still has the little price tag from Acme, which is a little cinema museum, which is actually just right across the road from Flinders Street Station. Now this is a little golden book of, well, Mario. Now at first I thought like, I don't know what exactly, but yeah, I haven't read it just as yet, but it's basically somewhat of like, stories trope where Bowser kidnaps Peach and Mario and Luigi have to go and rescue him and stuff like that. Now, this book was published around 2021, and if you look at the little advert too, they do have like a list of like the two other Thomas books that little books did put out during the time, like King of the Railway and Misty Island Rescue. The reason why I decided to get this one too, because just like Thomas, Mario has also got like a pretty big milestone for him this year. Like he, Luigi, well, his entire world will be having its 40th anniversary this year. Now, Nintendo has already, like a few weeks ago, confirmed that that officially their new system, like the predecessor to the Switch, is officially on the way. We're just looking at the Switch 2. It's is the official name of the new console. It hasn't got like an official lock-in date yet, but it is coming towards sometime at the end of the year. And during the presentation video, it was they teased off on what it looked to be a brand new Mario Kart for some description. So that's always pretty good. I mean, other than like the games, of course, that Nintendo's cooking up. We are meant to be getting like some more updates, let alone like our first look for the sequel to the first Mario movie, which is set to come out in April next year. Yeah, so I'm a pretty big Mario fan too. Like back then, Thomas and Mario were two of like my biggest passions on this planet, really. And yeah, it may not be like worth like much, but for nostalgia purposes, I was like, yeah, why the hell not? Now we're getting on to some stuff I got from the Puffing Billy Railway. So this is we've got a couple of like Polar Express items here. This is a snow globe based off the bell that the Hero Boy got from